Today is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. 80 years, where the heroes of the American, British, and Canadian armies stormed Normandy Beach to liberate Europe and Nazi tyranny. We honor their heroic achievement and sacrifice as we try to fight to salvage the country and the freedoms that they fought to save. Joe Biden was actually born before D-Day, and frankly, looks more and more decrepit than the handful of men who fought there who are still alive today. Today, while in France to honor the events of that day, President Biden tried to sit in an invisible chair and then later was mysteriously escorted away while his wife was with French President Macron in the middle of greeting surviving veterans. Is Biden going to actually make it to next November? We don't know. But in some ways, we kind of hope so. But just this week, the Wall Street Journal published a report quoting both Republicans and Democrats saying that behind closed doors, it's even worse. Biden is forgetting the details of his own policies, nodding off in meetings more and more. D-Day, one of the most important days in American history, probably one of the most incredible military accomplishments in American military history, a amphibious invasion, a land and sea invasion to liberate France from Nazi control. What we were fighting for was good versus evil. And unfortunately, those evil forces have now taken over America from within. Let's play cut 118.
And people don't realize what they have. They bitch about it. And then nowadays, I am so upset that the things we did and the things we fought for and the boys that died for it, it's all gone down the drain. Our country's gone to hell in a handbasket.
You turn it up.
We haven't got the country we had when I was raised. Not at all. Nobody will have the fun I had. Nobody will have the opportunity I had. It's just not the same. That's not what our boys, that's not what they died for.
That is not what they died for.
It's just not it.
That is not what they died for. You know, we remember the sacrifice of what they did on D-Day. Andrew, we have another piece of tape here. Why don't you introduce that?
Well, yeah, this is actually from this year. I mean, that clip that Charlie just played is a
classic.
It's a classic. I mean, it brings tears to a lot of people's eyes every time they see it, because the men and women that served this country so valiantly in World War II, guys like that remember a country that the institutions were strong, the values were strong, and we've lost so much of that. And this is actually a clip, cut 112. From this year's D-Day celebration. There are still World War II vets among us, and many of them actually got flown out to Normandy Beach, at Omaha Beach for the celebration, where Biden was with 20 other heads of state, including Emmanuel Macron, which we mentioned before. And this guy's saying he feels like a foreigner in his own country. Let's go ahead and play it. Cut 112.
The real truth?
Yeah.
I feel like a foreigner in my own country lots of times. And I don't like it. It makes my heart real heavy. And I just hope we can pull out of this. There's too much Hollywood going on in Washington all the time. The important subjects they don't cover. So the thing is, I hope all the guys will rally up and we'll go back and straighten it all out.
These are patriots sounding the alarm. They know what they fought for, and it really is a question of who actually won the war. We might have won the military war militarily. However, culturally, these influences have taken over the entire United States.
Yeah, I mean, what I love about that clip, though, is there's still this optimism in America that he shows at the end. He said, you know, yeah, I'm upset with a lot. I feel like a foreigner in my own country sometimes, and that makes my heart heavy. But I'm hoping that they'll go back and they'll sort it all out. And you know, I could say that I feel the same. You know, the hope in November, the hope that we are going to get better leaders, it's real. I think a lot of these World War II veterans share a hope in America and a belief in America, and we can't lose sight of that, Charlie, in my opinion.
There is an undercurrent of evil in every free society. And when we remember D-Day, these are men that were literally crapping their pants before they were going to that beach. I mean, imagine it. You don't know the time or the hour. In fact, it was planned originally on June 3rd, but the invasion was delayed slightly because of weather. The Nazis were totally taken by surprise. They thought the invasion was going to happen at a different part of France. And in fact, they did not believe it right out of the gate. They found it to be very, very hard to believe that the Allied forces would actually go to Normandy Beach, which was a harder terrain for them to be able to successfully do an invasion. And when Dwight D. Eisenhower gave the order, in fact, I want to read from this. It's incredible. When he signed the letter and gave the order, the supreme headquarters of the Allied Expeditionary Force, soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the great crusade towards which we have striven these many months. Do we have audio of this, Blake? Was this?
Yeah, we do.
I think that
we do.
I think audio. It's. I'm going to butcher it. I'm going to not do it justice. If we have audio of that, I think we have audio of Eisenhower actually reading that letter. But
yeah, it's 114.
You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940-41. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war, and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
I want you to imagine, we're not asking you to storm Normandy Beach, by the way. We're asking you to go fill in a mail-in ballot and get your neighbor to do the same. We're not asking you to go up against the Nazi turrets. We're asking you to go tell your friends to go vote for Donald J. Trump and to campaign and advocate for the restoration of this country. 80 years ago, the greatest generation stormed the beaches that we may be free. And I still believe that there's a fighting spirit left in this country.